All right, guys, welcome back. Feeling way better, doing good. So, I've got a lot to do. I still have video on my phone from my Crandon trip, and I left a little cliffhanger. I need to finish that video. Again, I was under the weather for a couple of days, so I really haven't done much, but I've also got this new deadline to meet. And that deadline is Overland Expo East. I have been invited by some guys from Toyota to go to Overland Expo East, and I got a bunch of stuff I need to do this before I will consider driving it 12 and a half hours each way to Virginia. So,
searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story.
Some things more important than others. Currently, I placed a little order with Trail Gear, and I picked up a different hydraulic assist steering ram. This ram has a nice fitted heim joint ends, as opposed to kind of the tractor style ram that I have put in there previously. The tractor style ram, although functions properly and works, the heim ends that they come with have quite a bit of slop in them, which would be perfectly acceptable on something like Stomper that doesn't get driven a ton on the street, that's more of a trail rig, off-road rig, whatever. That being said, I'm gonna drive this thing over 800 miles each way on asphalt, plus do some trail riding while we're in Virginia. I need to get this tightened up. So we're gonna work on doing that. Also, I have these from Trail Gear All Pro Off-Road. I have the 60-inch sliders that I picked up from them. So they are originally intended for like first gen 4Runner or second gen Toyota pickup. However, it looks like it's going to be the perfect length and work out really well for what we got here. Although I'm going to have to customize the fit of it, obviously, for my application. My intention is I ordered them with the fill plate. I want to be able to utilize it as a step, both for getting in the truck and for opening and closing the tent when it's on there. So I definitely need to handle that while I'm here. I also had the issue with my tent bracket. If you watched the video where we went overlanding in the UP, and my nuts came out of the track in the bed there. When that bracket fell, it broke. It actually cracked it, and then it ended up breaking all the way on my way home. So these are compromised. All of the brackets that I made are compromised. So maybe should have went a little heavier, but also gives me an opportunity to redo things. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. I thought about possibly lowering the tent, getting it a little closer to the bed, the way that Ben has his mounted, to try and just help get that center of gravity down a little bit. So I may end up making some new brackets. The fittings on this cylinder are a male JIC style fitting, like flare, male flare. The other cylinder has a female, like female pipe thread. So, and nowhere that's still open tonight has the correct fittings. Also, this Trail Gear cylinder is a little bit longer, even with the heim threaded all the way in this end. And it didn't come with a jam nut, so I actually got like a 5/8 fine thread nut and got a jam nut for it, so I could get that cylinder, get the heim joint clocked with the cylinder in the direction I need it. And overall, the length is just a fuzz longer. Thankfully, I haven't welded this clamp on yet. I've just been driving it. I haven't done anything that's like serious hardcore rock crawling type stuff yet that I've needed to weld the clamp on. So thankfully, I actually loosened it up and was kind of trial and error fitting stuff here. But my bolt, that end is 5/8, good. This is actually a 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna have to go to the hardware store, which I did actually when I was looking for the fittings, and picked up a reducer sleeve so that I can utilize that. So yeah, hopefully tomorrow I can go to the hydraulic fitting shop, pick up the correct fittings that I need, and we can get the steering cylinder installed. All right, so the original bolt through my Barnes clamp was like 1/2 inch fine thread. And I don't know, I stripped it out. I screwed it up. So we have drilled that clamp to a for 5/8, and we're tapping it with a 5/8 fine thread. But look at this tap handle. This thing is impressive. Like, this is serious stuff. So I'm gonna see if we can get this thing tapped out and hopefully get it clamped back on using a 5/8 fine thread bolt. Then we won't need a spacer or shim inside the heim joint on the end of the ram. So hopefully this works out. Just like that. That was some serious stuff. There's no way we would have ever got that done without the giant tap handle. There's a lot of pressure there when you're trying to spin that in. So thank goodness Chris had a good set of tools. Got our hole tapped. Now we can get back to putting this thing together. Boom. Oh. Just like that. Machine shop. Yeah. So that's the heim joint that goes on the steering ram, the new Trail Gear steering ram. Nice and tight, not a ton of slop like the old ones. 5/8 fine thread bolt, lock washer, couple of spacer collars, so because I didn't get the misalignment spacers, so that we can do what we need to do with this. And then our newly drilled and tapped tie rod clamp. Let's go put it on the truck.
You don't gotta pull hard on it, just kind of hold it there. There you go.
So, cranking the steering wheel back and forth, trying to bleed all of the air out of the system. And yeah, our new clamp looks to be working. See if we can get it all bled out and take her for a ride, see if that tightens up the handling like we were hoping. So having a hard time getting the air out of it. So Chris brought over his little hand pump Harbor Freight Special vacuum bleeder thing. And the rubber thing that it came with was just a tiny bit too small to fit the cap. But I happen to have this odd, random, huge rubber washer here. And we put that on there, and you can see the air just getting drawn out of the system. And yeah, hopefully this is the ticket. We can get this baby bled out. We tried doing the normal, like typically what you would do, jack it in the air, put fluid in it, and just turn it, the wheels side to side for quite a while until you don't see any bubbles coming in the fluid in the reservoir. And we did that, but as soon as we started it, it just didn't sound right, and it had like a weird jerkiness to it and stuff. So this is hopefully drawing all that extra air out of there, and we'll get her sealed back up. Okay, so it is the next day. We were up until like 11 o'clock last night trying to get this system bled out, and it just, I don't know, it was fighting us tooth and nail. Let it sit overnight and got back to it today after work. The fluid level was down like 3/4 of an inch from full, which it was full last night, but it was aerated, so it had that much air in it. Topped the fluid back off, cranked it back and forth. Fluid looked good, started it, kind of went through the whole sequence again, and it seems to be working good. So I just took it for a drive, and holy smokes, what an improvement. Getting rid of the play in those, heims on the end of that tractor style ram, just, oh my, night and day. The truck handles so much better. It's tighter. I hate to use the word race car. It definitely doesn't feel that tight. I mean, you do have a 40-inch tire here. There's a lot of deflection in the sidewall of these 40s compared to the 37s that are on Stomper. But, man, what an improvement. So happy with the upgrade of this Trail Gear Power Flow ram. So yeah, check. One more thing off the list. Super duper happy. Remember, if you get on Trail Gear's site, you can use Toy Box 10 as a discount code for 10% off your Trail Gear parts. Yeah, hopefully you have the same success I have had. I know I got their stuff. That's the dual cases that are in Stomper. Are that twin stick kit is that. I've used a bunch of their stuff, and so far with great success. Had no problems. So we're going to move on to the next thing. Okay, so I took the original cross tubes from my other rack, cut them off flat, welded them to this substantially thicker piece of angle iron, drilled holes, and then I got a different style T-nut this time. Not sure if we can see it in there or not. Kind of. It's from the hardware store, but there's some holes in the bottom of the track, and I was able to, you can better see that one. I was able to get my T-nut vertically through that hole for one bolt on each corner, and then the other one is just twist locked into what's left of the lip. But yeah, this gives my tent lower by like 8 inches, so it should give me a little bit lower center of gravity, which should help with handling, and as well as just being more beefy than the original racks that I had made. So hopefully this is the ticket. Check. One more thing off the list, and a long way to go on this journey of trying to get the truck to Overland Expo East. All right, so got the tent racks rebuilt for Spike. Now we need to slide the tent from the Tundra over onto the Tacoma. So backed them up fairly close. I guess I could probably get a little closer, but I think that'll be fine. And loosen up the brackets. I'm gonna slide her across. Okay, so got the tent clamped down. You can see that I welded one of the bolts. So on my previous UP trip, we had a water tank on here, and debating back and forth on whether or not we're gonna take the water tank with us to Overland Expo. It's a lot of extra weight up high when you're traveling on the expressway. So I think we may forego bringing that water tank, at least mounted in that position. We may bring some fresh water with us, but just in jugs in the bed. Try and get the weight lower yet. So I just put the nuts on there to keep people from getting hurt, grabbing a hold of the sharp threads or whatever. So, but 10 is on. Next up, sliders. So we are going to mount these rock sliders. They were, I think Trail Gear says they're for like the first generation 4Runner. So I gotta do a little modifying to get those on there. I had originally thought that maybe I could just build like a wedge bracket or something, but I'm a little over 2.5 inches away from where I'd want to mount them. I can't find a good solid way to sleeve pipe. I don't have anything that fits tightly. So what I'm gonna do is actually cut these legs right off. I picked up some 1.5 by 3 inch 3/16 wall rectangular tubing, and we are going to cut these legs and do straight legs into the frame. So I'm gonna plate the frame where my locations are with some 4 by 4 inch square plates or whatever fits close around stuff that's there, and see if we can get these mounted up today. So we're gonna cut these little legs off so that we can put our new one on. So the idea is to get it cut as close as possible so we can grind it clean, and we'll see how we do. Yay. let's do some grinding. These are the chunks of 3/16 that I cut. It's 4 inches by 5.5 inches. And then I'm grinding spots on the frame and plating it to give a little more rigidity to the outside of that frame, because we remember what that looked like, right? If you go back and watch my videos, it was a little soft. So adding some extra rigidity to the frame, then that's where our legs will go in. So got this, grinding the spots right now, get them welded into place, and then we'll go back, we'll weld the legs onto the slider, and then we'll hold it up here, line it up, and get it all mounted. All right, so I got all of my frame spots ground clean, and now we're just tacking our plates in. This one's got a little horseshoe cut out for a rivet that's in the frame, but yeah. Let's get them all welded up, and we can start working on welding the legs on the sliders. Got those all welded on. Now it's time to hold the slider up here, get it set up, eyeball where we want it, and then mark where our legs are gonna go. So I've held the slider up and figured out where I want my inward braces here, marked them. Now we're gonna get them welded into place where it's flat on the floor, and then we'll get it all mocked up on the other side and get them welded in. And boom, second side on. Man, what a difference. So that lowers your entry height by 6 inches for getting in and out. It's nice wide step for getting my feet on. Plus you got the kick out, which will also be nice for messing with the tent. That worked out really well. I'm super happy with that. So we're gonna go do a little shopping with some paint, see if we can get them cleaned off and paint it up. And yeah. But we purposely set them where we did so that the kick out does not protrude beyond the tire. But it also should kind of help push you away from stuff, and if you did rub against a tree, it's going to push it out to the tire. Super happy. I think those are going to work out great. All right, Whitney's going to try getting in and out of the truck with the sliders on it. Is that a little easier? Your step surface is like 6 inches lower than it was before?
Yep.
Yeah, much more gooder.
Yep.
And actually, Whitney and Steve were both just standing on the slider and bouncing up and down the whole truck. Rocks and rolls, nice and solid. So I just brought the truck over to Chris's. Got the sliders done, but Chris has the extra tall jack stands we need to try and replace the leaf spring bushing. So prior, we had put new poly bushings in the one end of the spring, the forward end, but I didn't have them for the other end. I had gotten the wrong size. So I picked up another set. Hopefully they're the right ones. So we're going to swap the bushings in this big end of the leaves over to poly. Hopefully that helps tighten up a little bit of sloppiness feeling that we got left in the suspension. But yeah, kind of funny to see the two trucks next to each other. Of course, his tire's flat, but this 42's flattened down to way less than my 40 when they're flat. I don't know. What's your wheelbase, Chris? Something?
117.
117, yeah. So they're both on full width axles and similar offset wheels, and yeah. Got to hurry up and get this one done. I can get over here and help him with that one. And we can get them out on the trail together. So we jacked the truck up. We got it on the tall jack stands on the front, the spring hanger. You can kind of see way up there. Undid the shackle bolt from the spring. And now we're gonna see, match up what I got. Make sure it looks like it's gonna fit the hole. And see if these big bushings will replace those. Tighten her up. Hardware store run. All right, so quick trip to the hardware store. You know, when I was putting the truck together, I was excited to be putting it together, but you see all the play around that bolt, and you can see the dry rot in that bushing. But yeah, obviously that's a lot of extra slop that we don't want. I got these new polyurethane bushings to put in there, which also came with the new sleeve. So we went ahead and made a trip to the hardware store and picked up the proper 16 millimeter bolt that fits nice and tight in that sleeve, like it should. So like it should have had, you know, that's what should have been in there before. So also because the shackle was drilled for 9/16 prior for the other bolts that I was using, we picked up a 5/8 drill bit, which is 15.9 millimeter. Hoping that gives us the clearance we need. We might have to do a little wiggling, but they don't make, or we couldn't get a 16 millimeter drill bit. So at least not at the hardware store that we went to. So we're gonna drill those shackles out, push these new bushings in here, and hopefully this will tighten us up. All right, so bushings are all in. We just gotta set it back down on the ground and get everything at relaxed ride height, and then we will snug all that stuff up, take it for a ride, see if that made a big difference or not. Hopefully it did. Got the hardware all snuggled up. It's time to hop on this step, get in this truck, and take it for a ride. Let's see how it goes. Fresh coat of black on the sliders. Test drive, and wow, it's unbelievable what those bushings will do in just helping kind of tame down the body roll characteristics that it had. So before, I think what was happening is the rubber in there, the shackle bolt would deflect until it hit the end of the bushing, and then the spring would take over, right? Well, now the poly doesn't have that deflection, so it feels much more stable, much more controlled. The rubber bushings in it were obviously deteriorated, and so I think it was like this super soft jerk till it got to that point. Then the springs take over. Now it's very gentle, very controlled feeling. Such a huge improvement. So, excuse me, super excited. It just made the handling so much more predictable. Between that and the trail gear steering ram with the Heim ends, the truck's totally transformed. It drives so much better. So the All Pro Off-Road trail gear rock sliders, nice and solidly mounted, tie in real good, look great, will offer a lot of protection, and yeah, good asset to have.